Dear students, welcome to the accountancy class. In today's class, let's see a problem. So in all other problems what we had discussed in the earlier classes, in the income and expenditure account we used to get surplus, but in this problem we are going to get the deficit. So how to solve a problem when there is a deficit? Let's see in this problem. So look at your notes and try to follow me. Following are the balance sheet and recent payments account of Raghavendra Education Trust, Ballari. So balance sheet is given, opening balance sheet, capital fund, subscription received in advance, outstanding expenses, loan, income and expenditure account. Okay, on the asset side it's given building, outstanding subscription, outstanding rent and cash at bank. Recent payments account for the year ending 31st March 2017. Two balance brought down is given. It is the opening balance sheet. Cash at bank is given 20,000. The same amount has been written again here in recent payments account as two balance brought down. So the two treatments are over. We need not write them again in either in income and expenditure account or in the balance sheet. Okay. Now look at the subscription. 2015-16 is given, 16-17 is given, 17 and 18 is given. 15 and 16 it will go to opening balance sheet. When you look at the opening balance sheet, you can see outstanding subscription 400 on the asset side. The same amount has been paid or received in the recent payments account 2015 and 16 400. Two effects have been already made, so we need not write it again. 2016 and 17 we have to consider it in the income and expenditure account. 2017 and 18 it will go to the closing balance sheet. Okay. Entrance fees is given 1,600, but in the additional information or in the adjustment, no other information is given, no instruction is given. That's why we can treat these entrance fees as revenue. Rent is given, revenue, so it will go to income and expenditure account. Income from refreshment, it will also go to income and expenditure account. Let's go to the right hand side. By expenses 2015 and 16, 2,800 is given. It is the amount relating to previous year. It is already been entered in the opening balance sheet. So in the opening balance sheet it is given outstanding expenses 2,800. So the effect has been already made. We need not write them again. 2016 and 17, 3,600 is given. So it has to be entered in the income and expenditure account. Leasehold land, of course, it's an asset, so it will go to balance sheet. Interest, income and expenditure account, refreshment expenses 4,000 and balance carried down. Balance carried down is the cash in hand which is to be entered in the closing balance sheet. So now let's look at the adjustment. Expenses due but not paid 1,000, it has to be recorded twice. So all the adjustment, they have to be recorded twice. So expenses due but not paid. So once it has to be added to the expenses, and again 1,000 expenses due but not paid is to be entered in the liability side on the balance sheet. Okay, subscription due but not received 200, you have to add it to the subscription once, and again you have to write it on the asset side of balance sheet. Interest due but not paid. So outstanding interest, you have to add it to the interest in the income and expenditure account, and again in the balance sheet you have to write it on the liability side. Half of the entrance fees is to be capitalized. Yes, the instruction is given entrance fees. Half of the entrance fee should be considered as revenue, and it has to be entered in the income and expenditure account, and the other half should be added to the capital fund. Depreciate building by 10%. Of course, you know how to treat the depreciation. Once in income and expenditure account and again in the balance sheet, you have to deduct the depreciation from the building. So this is how you have to work out the problem. So now let's see how to prepare income and expenditure account. As you are aware of, we have to write the name of the firm, Raghavendra Education Trust. Raghavendra Education Trust. Income and expenditure account. Income and expenditure account for the year ending 31st March 2017. So 2017 is the current year. So draw the columns. On the right hand side income, on the left hand side expenditure and debit as well as credit. Okay, now let's start with the problem. So look at the receipt side, opening to balance brought down, it is the amount already written in the opening balance sheet. Then comes subscription, 2015 and 16 it will go to opening balance sheet, 2016 and 17 4,200. So by subscription 4,200. For this you have to add the outstanding item which is given in the adjustment, and at the same time you have to see the opening balance sheet also whether there are advances in the opening balance sheet, because once the advance is given in the last year, it is related to the it will relate to the current year. That's why we have to consider those items also. So from the opening balance sheet you have to take the advance, and from the adjustment you have to take the outstanding. So in this problem, outstanding is given in the adjustment number B, subscriptions due but not received 200. Subscriptions due but not received 200. So outstanding subscription of last year, current year 200. And again you look at the opening balance sheet, subscription received in advance. In the liability side it is given 1,200. So it is the advance of last year. Advance of last year, it is relating to the current year. That's why the advances are given for the next year. So when the advance is given the last year, it is for the current year. That's why we have to add it, plus subscription received in advance. Received in advance 1,200. So once you add up this item, it will be 5,600. 5,600. Okay, now let's go to the next item, entrance fees. Entrance fees 1,600 is given. So out of that 50% is capitalized. So 1,600 out of that 50% is 800 rupees. Okay, rent is given next. Rent 1,400 is given by rent. By rent 1,400 is given. You have to see whether there are outstanding or advance item. Say in the opening balance sheet, is there any item outstanding, or in the adjustment is there any item outstanding? Just look into that. Rent 1,400. Now look at the rent. The amount of rent is 1,400. This includes the outstanding of last year and advance of next year. About the advance, no information is given. So you have to see whether there is outstanding in the last year. So once you look at the opening balance sheet, it is given on the asset side, outstanding rent 840. So outstanding of last year, it has to be deducted. So what is the amount relating to the current year? It is 560. 560. Okay, now let's go to the other item, income from refreshment 8,000. By income from refreshments 8,000. So I think all the items on the receipt side is over. Now let's go to the payment side. On the payment side, it is given by expenses 2015 and 16, 2,800. It is relating to last year. In the opening balance sheet, it is given. Look at the item. On the liability side, outstanding expenses 2,800. The same has been paid in the current year. That's why the effect has already been made. You need not write them again. 2016 and 17, 3,600 is there. So write that. Two expenses 3,600. For this you have to see, is there any outstanding in the adjustment? So expenses due but not paid 1000, expenses due but not paid 1000. So plus outstanding of current year 1000. So in the outer column 4600, 4600. The next item is leasehold land. It will go to balance sheet, and interest is given, interest 800, interest paid 800, and look at the adjustment number C, interest due but not paid. Interest due but not paid means it is outstanding of current year 400, so 1200. Then comes refreshment expenses 4000, refreshment expenses refreshment expenses 4000, then balance carried down is there, it will be entered in the closing balance sheet. So now all the items in the income and expenditure account, risks and payments account is over. Now let's look at the adjustment. Is there any item left out to be entered in the income and expenditure account? Expenses due but not paid is entered. Subscriptions due but not received rupees 200 is entered. C, interest due but not paid, it is also entered. Half of the entrance fee is capitalized, half is already recorded. And the last item, depreciate building by 10%. So to depreciation on building, depreciation on building, the amount of building is, which is given in the opening balance sheet, 60,000 of that 10%. So 60,000 of that 10%, it will be 6,000. So almost all the items have been recorded. Now total by using a calculator. So find the total, which side it is more, which side it is less. So the total of income and expenditure account will be 15,800. 15,800. 15,800. So on the right hand side we will get the deficit 840. So the balance is on the left hand side. Whatever you write on the right hand side, it will be considered as deficit. So here in this problem we are not getting surplus. In this problem we are getting deficit. That should be the balancing figure. Okay. So income and expenditure account is over. Now let's go to the balance sheet. Right on the top, Raghavendra Education Trust. Raghavendra Education Trust. So on the left hand side again, liabilities rupees, assets rupees, balance sheet as on 31st March 2017. Okay. Now let's look at the item one by one. So in the opening balance sheet, first of all, the first item which is supposed to be written is cash at bank. So in this problem, cash in hand is given or cash at bank is given. So in this problem, cash at bank is given in the opening balance sheet. So I'll write here also cash at bank. So look at the recent payments account, the amount by balance carried down 16,700. 16,700. Then comes asset building. The amount we have already written 60,000, of that depreciation entered in income and expenditure account is 6,000. So 54,000. Building is over. Now in the opening balance sheet, no other item is found. Asset, no other fixed asset is found. Look at the payment side. In the payment side, leasehold land is there 8,000. Leasehold land 8,000. Leasehold land is there 8,000. So all the assets are over. Now go to the liability side. Loan is given. Loan for which no other adjustment. loan amount is 10,000. Write all other outstanding and advance items which is given in the adjustment or in the recent payments account. See, in the recent payments account, in the subscription we have seen 2017 and 18, 300 rupees is given. That is the advance to the next year. So advance subscription received in advance. The amount is 300. Okay, one item is over. And look at the recent payments account. Is there any other item which is given as advance to the next year? No other item is there. So look at the adjustment. All the adjustment should be entered twice or double effect has to be given. Expenses due but not paid 1,000. Outstanding expenses. Outstanding expenses should be considered as liability. So outstanding expenses 1,000. Outstanding expenses 1,000. Subscription due but not received. That is outstanding subscription or subscription not received. Subscription due is 200, or you can say outstanding subscription. Then interest due but not paid. Interest due but not paid. Amount is 400. Interest due but not paid. It has to be entered on the liability side. Interest, the amount is 400. Interest due or outstanding. Interest outstanding 400. Half of the entrance fees to be capitalized, that we have to add it to the capital fund, and depreciate building by 10%. 10% depreciation. It has to be entered in the income and expenditure account. We have entered it already, and it has to be deducted from the building in the balance sheet. Okay, now let's see capital fund. What is the capital fund? Okay, one item is left out in the opening balance sheet, that is income and expenditure account. I will write it first. Income and expenditure account. Income and expenditure account. The amount is 3,240. Then write capital fund. Capital fund found in the opening balance sheet is 64,000. Opening balance sheet, it is 64,000. For this you add up all the items which are capitalized. So here in this problem, entrance fees 50% is capitalized. So the entrance fees 50% is 800. So 64,800. 64,800. For this you have to add the surplus, or in case if you find the deficit, you have to deduct it. So in this problem we will get the deficit of 840. So minus deficit 840. So 63,960. 63,960. So I have entered almost all the items. Now check whether any item is left out in the recent payments account or in the adjustment. So I think I have entered all the items. Now find out the total. The total must be 78,900. 78,900. So this is how you have to work out the problem. It's a very simple problem, but I have taken this problem only because there is a deficit in the income and expenditure account. Just to tell you that there is a deficit, and when there is a deficit, it has to be deducted from the capital fund. That's why I have taken this problem. So dear students, once you look at the question paper, you will find some 3 or 4 questions. There will be a question of 1 mark, 1 question. There will be a question of 2 marks, 1 question, and there will be a 12 marks question. So total of marks is compulsory question 1 mark question 1, 2 marks question 1, 12 marks question 1. So total 15 marks are allotted to this chapter, and practical oriented question also there will be one question, either classify the following into capital and revenue or prepare an imaginary risks and payments account. Out of these two there will be one question. So in total the question paper contains the 20 marks question from the not-for-profit organization. So this is a very important chapter. Study well, concentrate to your studies. We are in the year of COVID-19 pandemic. The academic year 2020 and 21 is not yet started. Once the classes are started, the department may reduce the syllabus also. And once the syllabus is reduced, we will come before you with the new revision classes, what are the topics which are to be deleted and what is important from the point of view of examination. About all these things we shall discuss in the revision session. So thanks for listening to me. Thank you very much.